Dad? I disagree that Joe Biden's judgment was so sound or so reliable. I think he was in a pretty easy district to win, and he won Senate 7 times. Yeah, and then he won a president against Donald Trump at the height of his unpopularity during COVID. It wasn't like an incredible election win, and then he should have dropped out way earlier on this last one. And had he dropped out way earlier, we could have got a real primary and a better chance than fucking Kamala Harris. So I disagree, but like if you're somebody's son, like I don't know, I would back up my dad just as hard, 100%. Listen, my dad is the low W master, dude. Never fucking doubt his bars. He's every joke hits. Um, if he never ran in 24, he'd be remembered about history. Yeah, I've said that a million times. I 100% agree. It would have been a gangster move. It would have been a fucking Chad move to purposefully not run again. To purposely say I'm a one-term stop Trump kind of guy, and I'm gonna pass it. Um, why didn't your dad run? That's a good question. Dude, my dad, honestly, he lives to dive now. Sorry to leak my dad's hobbies, but my dad, his whole life is oriented around scuba diving. He got into it. He got into it like in the past, I don't know, year and a half, and he just loves scuba diving. I don't know what license he has, but it's like an advanced one. And all he thinks about is scuba diving. Not all he thinks about, obviously, but it's his biggest, like when he's working, he's thinking about scuba diving. His vacations are planned around scuba diving. He, um, he just really likes it. It's just funny how much he's gotten into it. Why does he hate the dry land? That's a good question. I don't know why he's lost touch with the land. Human beings weren't meant to live under the sea, dude. Why doesn't he learn a useful skill like tower diving? Tell my dad to get rid of this hobby that brings him joy and pick up League of Legends and become a tower diving jungler. That's a good idea. That would be a better use of his time. Um, don't let your dad get into cave diving, scary shit. Wait. I want to show you a fucking channel. I got recommended the most slop channel of all time. How am I ever gonna find it? I pull up Ludwig's channel. No. I think this is it. Oh, there's a bunch of these, huh? Wow, there's more than I thought. There's more than I fucking thought. This is crazy. Wait, I can't wait to show you this. Let me just get one more because I still haven't found the one I was looking for. Um, wait. There. Oh my God. Dude, look how many of these there are. Okay. Here. Here. Look. Apparently, there is a fucking money printing machine. A money printing machine on YouTube, which is to make an AI slop video with drawn art about cave deaths. You know, like the most painful cave deaths of all time. Stuck for months, 12 days. This is a channel called Simple Paint Explainer, the Paint Explainer. They use paint and they keep farming this over and over. Caves flooding, painful cave deaths. And then I looked up the stick tragedy, the most claustrophobic caving situations, most disturbing deaths due to natural selection, can't breathe, most weirdest caving deaths ever, most nasty ways cavers get twisted in maze-like caves. That's not even a good title. What the fuck? Most nasty ways cavers get twisted in maze-like caves? The same title twice. The same. 2K views? Yeah, but this one has 1 million. 1 million. They just repeat it. They just fucking farm 1 million of these caves. That's this channel, The Stick Tragedy. But there's also Simple Paint. The most avoidable cave deaths ever. 973K views in 13 days. The most unnecessary. It's like a fucking J-Schlatt sponsor video, but it's but it's for cave. Who the fuck is watching all these? What is the human need to watch people stuck in a small cave? This is weird. There's so many. Then there's good enough. Wait, videos popular? Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Oh yeah, there was one. The deadliest caves in the world. 715K views. This is strange, bro. God, there's so much dead internet theory. There's just so much slop. There's just so much slop. They're just biting salmonella shit. Yeah, there's infinite ones though. It turns out that the human audience for this kind of slop is much bigger than salmonella can put out. It's not dead internet theory, it's capitalism theory. Socialism is when no cave diving videos. Oh my God, please shut the fuck up. Please shut the fuck up, bro. My God. Paid Explainer was kind of cool for their first few videos, but that was before all the cave stuff. You think this was cool? I mean, if it's a human, it's fine. If it was a human, then I guess whatever. A human. But I get the deep sense that these videos are a ChatGPT script, an AI voice, and they farm out the production to Fiverr. That's the sense I get with these videos. I legitimately don't think a human being is actually putting real thought into them. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. He also could have sold the channel, yeah. Atrioc found twisted. Do you think if I do an IRL stream where I get stuck in a cave and die, I could get some real views? Do you think that would be... 10 mil views easy? Interesting. It kind of sucked to do it, and then it's not, you know, it's just my normal view count. You and Squeak stuck in a cave? Oh, God. The cave-a-thon, dude. Problem? Big A, I got AoE 2 yesterday because of you and started playing Vikings. This game is so hard. It's the hardest fucking game I've ever played in my whole life. Not kidding. It's the hardest fucking game. It might be the hardest game in the world. I'm actually not kidding. I think you could take a fucking, what's the highest rank in Apex Predator? Fucking Epstein? Fucking Predator Elite? Whatever it is. You could take someone like that and put them in Age of Empires and they would fucking kill themselves. They would not be able to get above 800 elo. It's actually so hard. It's actually so hard. Harder than StarCraft? Maybe. Honestly, maybe. I know that sounds fucking crazy. I don't think it's harder than beating Koreans at StarCraft. That's the hardest thing in the world. But because AoE is more active in the West, there's just so much to do. You know, StarCraft at least has the beautiful, gorgeous thing that there's only one mineral. You just get the minerals and you can build everything with minerals. But in this, you need stone and gold and food and wood. And if you have the ratio wrong, your economy evaporates. If I put fucking 12 villagers on food, but only 7 on wood, then my economy inflates with food, and it's fucking disgusting. Yes, I understand you need gas. I understand that, but it's a hard game, dude. It's probably the hardest game I've ever played. Hey, Street Needle Saver, 32 months. All right, guys, let's watch some videos. Let's open up with a video at least, and then we can talk about whatever the fuck we want. But I would like to kick off Get Smarter Saturdays with something interesting, maybe short. The rules of Get Smarter Saturdays are pretty well established at this point, but if you don't know, the video cannot be too long. The video cannot be too boring. But at the end of the video, we have to have learned something. That's the idea. And so I'm connecting my channel to GetSmarterSaturdays.com, and we are now open. Boom. Boom. And you could now link your video in chat, and we can see it on here and decide what to watch. I'm looking for something kind of interesting. I'm scared for Ireland. Why is Hank Green scared for Ireland?
Hello. Recently I went to Ireland. Beautiful place, amazing people, lush and green and ancient and poetic and extremely...
Is he scared for Ireland because of the Blarney Stone and it's not kissable enough? Is he saying he went to Ireland and tried to kiss the Blarney Stone, but he wasn't attracted to it anymore in its old age? And so now he can't get the luck he used to get when he... And this is a 14-minute video about that?
Confusing. Things I was confused by. Northern Ireland, still just there. Part of the UK, border, very hard in theory, very squishy in practice. Up there just destroying the very idea of Brexit. What do you do with a problem like Northern Ireland? Everybody has opinions. No one's opinions are the same as each other. It feels like everybody's just sort of sipping tea over a political landmine, and I love that. Okay. I wish that more places in the world could arrive where you are. That's good. But weird, second surprise, what? Many of the roads appear to have been designed by people who enjoy base jumping. Everybody's moving real quick down what appear to be one-lane, two-way roads. I don't know if it's zen, I don't know if it's practice, I don't know if it's just being resigned to your fate, but my biggest surprise is that honestly I thought I was going to get there and if finally I would have found a group of people who knew about the AMOC. In America, I kind of get it. Not thinking about the AMOC very much, but in Ireland...
I have no idea what the AMOC is. Is this a non-American thing? Wait, let me get this set up. What the fuck is the AMOC? Is that when Big A mocks you? Because I'm not that mean. I barely mock anybody. I'm actually a really nice guy. People often say it. In this chat, they spam this thing called YOK that means you're okay because Atrioc has been so nice to you. And they do it when I'm really nice to people. He explains the AMOC. No, I'm just setting up my thing. Okay.
In Ireland, the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation is the thing that makes Europe livable. Because if you look at a map, Ireland is shockingly far north. Dublin is farther north than Calgary, than Quebec City. It is at the same latitude as the southern tip of Alaska. And yet, not snow, rain, not permafrost, sheep. Ireland owes its mild winters to a planetary plumbing system the size and depth of an ocean. The Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, henceforth to be called the AMOC, is a massive loop of water that drags heat from the tropics north all the way to northern Europe and then sends cold water plunging back down in the deep ocean back toward the equator.
This is how South America can get back at Europe after 100 years of meddling, okay? Put up a big dam right here and keep all the hot water to themselves. Or tariff it, okay? All of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, the cash is flowing this direction. Pre-watched? 5 seconds later, Hank Green drawing a diagram of a giant dam throughout the entire...
Without it, Dublin's January would be less like that Atlantic constant Ocean. Dreary drizzle and more like Siberia. And by the way, one of the most annoying things in the world to me is knowing that a huge number of people will never see news stories about the AMOC simply because of the news sources they read. Which brings me to this video's sponsor, Ground News. Ground News is a who spoke out against Trump policies to rate bias and faction than cold water. Because A link at ground.news/Hank. Hot water actually takes up a little bit more space than cold water because it's just jiggling around more, so it knocks into other water molecules more, and that means fewer water molecules in the same volume of water. It's less dense, so it will float on top of cold water. So the water of the tropical ocean is hit up by the equatorial sun that just hits with more energy than if it's doing like glancing blows at the upper latitudes, so it just gets hotter there. And that warm layer sort of rides on top of the colder stuff below. Up north, you have a different situation. That water is going to be colder. It's going to be more dense. It's not going to be knocking around as much. And so the molecules slow down. They're closer together. And that's more dense water. These two things on their own, however, are not a big enough difference to set off a giant conveyor belt that's moving trillions of gallons of water a second. There is another factor, a more important factor, and it's salt. As tropical water evaporates under the sun, the salt cannot evaporate. It doesn't go into the sky. It stays there in the ocean. And salt is really good at like nesting cozily inside of water. So when you add salt to water, you only increase its volume a little bit while you increase its mass more. More stuff in less volume means more density. The water is heavier per unit of volume. And because of a few different things, water from the equatorial tropics moves northward.
By the way, sorry to jump in with my science on my own, but this is why salt water is better for you to drink. It fills you up quicker. So if you're thirsty, you should drink more salt water because it'll you don't need as much water to feel full. This is like a little. I know Hank's probably gonna get to that. Probably pre-watched. Sorry, but I just want you guys to know this because I'm a bit of a scientist myself.
That includes like actual wind currents that are literally blowing the wind northward, but also because that denser water at the top, that colder water, is going to go down into the deep ocean, and that's going to pull something in behind it. And temperature is enough to make that happen like a tiny bit, but that sets off something much bigger, because as the water from the tropics moves northward, it's going to be evaporating that whole way. It's up at the top of the ocean, and you can only evaporate from the top. And as it is evaporating, it is becoming more and more dense because all that salt is being left behind. And so at this point in our history, as it hits kind of the top of the Atlantic Ocean, it plunges down because it's going to be super cold and it's going to be super saline. I mean, not actually super saline. It's going to be comparatively much more saline than water at the tropics. And when that water plunges down, it doesn't just leave like an empty space behind it. We know that. Warm water from the tropics is going to have to rush in to fill that space. It's going to get pulled up from the equator, bringing all of that tropical heat with it. And the greater the density of the water at these northern latitudes, because of both cold and salinity, the more tropical water has to rush northward to replace it as it plunges down into the depths of the Atlantic Ocean.
Makes sense to me, Hank Green.
Even though I have already hinted otherwise, that the big problem we are worried about here is not enough cold to cool down the water to become dense, but no. That's part of the problem, but the bigger problem,
what's the problem?
Is Greenland. Greenland is leaking. It's maybe collapsing. I could make a whole episode on Greenland. We're not going to, though. There's a lot of water pouring off of Greenland, and the water pouring off of Greenland today began as snow, frozen vapor that drifted down from the sky that probably...
Not to jump ahead here, but could we fix this by simply all sending ice cubes and air conditioners to Greenland to keep it really chilly? Like if we just crank up the AC, would that should do it? What if we put Greenland in a fridge?
Initially evaporated from the ocean, leaving...
Just watch the vid, little bro. Hey, big bro. Why don't you watch the fucking vid? I was going to ban you, but you used to be sub for 2 months, and I respect that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to time you out for 6 years. See you in fucking hell. All right? If I want to pause and talk about the video on my stream, that's what I'm going to fucking do. You can go sit alone in your room, close the curtains, and watch the YouTube video by yourself. Right? Obviously. How many seconds in 6 years? Oh, God, it's too many. All right. It's too many for me. It's too many, dude. All right, I'll do fucking... There. Okay, timed out. It was a week. Bro. It was a week.
The salt behind in the ocean. Snow and rain fall as fresh water. And so now that snow has compacted into glacial ice over decades and centuries and millennia, storing fresh water way above sea level like a frozen reservoir of pure fresh water. Now, as the climate warms, that ice is melting fast. 250 billion tons of ice per year.
Is this woke? I thought he was going to end by saying, and that's why we got to pray to Christ more. Is this whole video woke about climate change? I thought this was a safe Christian video. Oh, I didn't know it was woke. Hank Green? I thought Hank Green was like Joe Rogan. I didn't know he thought climate change is real.
Year is melting. All of it is dumping fresh, unsalted water into the ocean. And in the North Atlantic, that's mixing with all of the dense, salty water, and that means that the water is becoming less salty and thus less dense. The more fresh water floods into the North Atlantic, the harder it is for the water to sink. And when the water doesn't sink, the warm current behind it slows down.
Okay, is this... I get what he's saying, but is the whole point of this saying, as the climate warms, Ireland will get colder? Am I getting the gist of it? Okay.
It isn't yanking on it as hard, and the heat that normally comes with the water does not get delivered. Now, just so you know, this would be...
I'll say it. Europe is going through an air conditioning crisis right now. Maybe they could use it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they could use it. They're dying. They're literally dying en masse from not having air conditioning. Maybe they could use it. They could use a little cool down of the AMOC, and there's no negative long-term effects. It's solving problems.
Bad for everywhere. Why? Because we have built our societies to expect weather to be a certain way, and this would change the weather everywhere. Now, of course, it would particularly change the weather anywhere that is exposed in the northern hemisphere to the Atlantic Ocean, because that's where the AMOC largely operates. Though it's going to affect weather everywhere because it turns out the AMOC interacts with all the other ocean currents, but it is a particularly big...
Time to invest in Euro AC companies? That's not even a joke. I've considered it. I'm seriously considering trying to find the company that would profit the most from building air conditioning across major UK and German and Spanish cities and investing in it, because that is a trend that is going to happen. They have to do that. It's priced in. You know, you think that it's all priced in, but a company like Nintendo has proved that it really isn't. It's not really priced in until the numbers are real.
Effect for things that live in the northern hemisphere and the Atlantic Ocean and land that is exposed to that. For example, in the tropics, the heat that would normally get sucked northward instead gets stuck there and doesn't go anywhere, and that makes things hotter there, which is bad. Let's be honest, it is hot enough down there already, both for the people and the animals. If the AMOC slows down or shuts down, the heat will get stuck in the tropics, but it also won't get delivered to northern Europe. And the countries most impacted by this are the ones with the most exposure to AMOC, which includes, obviously, Ireland. It's sitting there right on the edge of the Atlantic.